So this is what happens when you mix Kill Bill with The Raid on a very low budget. The movie heavily stars Salma Hayek as a high-end prostitute who has turned her back on her pimp. She went to the police promised to get her out. That backfired, and now he is promising that he's going to take out her daughter and her mother. So she tells them to come to her because she's holed up in this apartment to try to give them money to escape. And she deals with waves and waves of enemies as the movie rolls on. And this movie felt a lot like The Raid in the tone, the way it was filmed. It's not even near as close as good as choreography as The Raid is, but it's basically in one setting the entire time. It just takes place in this one apartment, and that's it. And as far as the Kill Bill aspect, there's various employees of her old boss, a lot of prostitutes who kind of seem like assassins / prostitutes that she mixes it up with, much like Kill Bill. And she has this feud going with him because he's fallen in love with her. This movie, it seems like it tried way too hard to be as over-the-top violent as can possibly be. And sometimes that works in films, but I feel like this didn't feel as organic as it should have been. There were times where I didn't know if Salma Hayek was supposed to be this high-trained assassin or if she's just a clumsy girl who's killing all these people for no reason and getting lucky. There were times that felt there were both of those things mixed in. It never explains if she really is like a trained assassin or not, or if she's just a whore. It never really explains the backstory of how things came to be in this world. It's just a lot of killing and a lot of boss fights, and here comes the next boss and they take care of that, and the next boss comes along and they take care of that. Rinse and repeat, and try to go as over the top of the violence as you can possibly go. And sometimes that does work in films. It worked in Kill Bill, but I thought Kill Bill did a better job of putting that into context. And The Raid, the same way. It felt more organic. It felt like it was in place with the story. This just didn't work for me, and I felt like it was very clunky. The storytelling was kind of shaky. It felt at times like it just didn't know where it wanted to go. As far as Salma Hayek goes, she is still amazing to look at and almost 40 years old, and that's, to me, one of the highlights of the film. And she does a decent job. There's no acting that's going to blow anyone away here. A lot of people speak in Japanese in the film. There are some other scenes in the film that involve torture that made me feel a bit uncomfortable. I'm not a big fan of torture porn or Saw movies or things like that. Luckily, they don't go too far with it, but those parts made me feel a bit off. And there are some scenes where the villains in the film almost have a supernatural feel to them, that the way they're shown. And I thought that was kind of a cool little take on how these villains showed up throughout the film. And there is some crazy shit that happens in the movie, don't get me wrong. And there were some decent action scenes too. I mean, it was cool to see Salma Hayek, kicking tons of ass, which I haven't really seen in quite a while. Maybe Desperado a little bit, but other than that though, it's kind of a B movie. I'm not going to knock it for having low special effects because I realize that this isn't a high budget film. I think they did the best they could with what they were given, but it's nothing where if this does get a theatrical release, which I'm hearing it is, you need to rush out to the theaters for it. But if you can catch it at home, I would definitely recommend that. So for me, I'm going to give the film a 6. I thought it was okay. Nothing spectacular. I've seen better action movies done. Even movies that are somewhat as gory as this. This may be the most violent film I've ever seen. That's really up for debate, but it's okay. Check it out if it's at home. I wouldn't recommend going to the theaters for it, but nevertheless, it's always good to look at Salma Hayek in revealing clothing for an hour and a half. So if you guys saw the film, let me know what you think. Comment below. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and as always, thank you.